So choosing the right tool to build your website is absolutely essential to make sure that not only your website building process is smooth and easy, but even more importantly, your website has the potential to become successful. This actually makes a huge difference in the end, depending on what your goal is for your website, which is why I'm making this video. This is an ultimate comparison between 4 of the most popular website builders out there, including Wix, Squarespace, you've probably heard of both of those, as well as WordPress, which powers about 1/3 of the internet, and Webflow, which is an emerging technology, which is very exciting. And I'll talk about all of these in regards to their ease of use. We'll talk about their e-commerce capabilities in case you want to sell things. We'll talk about their ability to rank on Google. Obviously, this is really important if you want people to find your website. We'll talk about their marketing capabilities, their help and support, and of course the templates to design and everything else. So like I said, this is an ultimate comparison, and there is a lot to cover here. At any point in this video, if you decide which of these you actually like though, I want to point out that in the description of this video, I have links to not only get you a free trial, but also a full tutorial for any one of these, because I've made a tutorial on all 4 of these. So that will be your next step once you decide which of these is right for you. So with that being said, let's get into this video. I'm going to head over to my laptop and start off with the very first category, which is ease of use. Now, a quick little summary for the ease of use. Wix and Squarespace are generally going to be easier for beginners to get into. They're going to have a very intuitive layout. And then the next one is probably, well, it's kind of a toss-up. WordPress has a lot going on, but there are ways to make it very easy. And then Webflow is slightly more advanced for some more in-depth customizations. So I want to start off on my laptop by showing you some of the different templates across these different platforms, because ultimately choosing the right template can have a massive impact on your website. It sort of acts as a launch pad and can save you a lot of work and make your website look really nice in the end. So I want to start off by showing you Squarespace, which has about 100 different templates, slightly more than 100 templates, and all of them are generally a little bit more minimal. They're all included with your plan, which is really nice. And you can look at any one of these. For example, this one, if I say preview, it can show me that it's a robust website. It looks really nice, minimal in design, but it's clean and elegant. And so you have a pretty good selection here. And that brings us into Wix, which has between 800 and I believe maybe even 1,000 different templates. The number is always changing. And these, once again, are all included, so you don't have to pay extra for these. But having that larger variety allows you to have more options within each category. So if you want to make a personal portfolio, or if you want to make an online store, each one of those, you have more options with that. And in addition, when you're first setting up your Wix site, you do have 2 options. You can either create from a template, or you can use Wix's AI to make the website for you. I generally like to go with the templates. I can kind of see the style ahead of time, and it does a good job in my opinion. But moving along to the next one being Webflow. Webflow has quite a few different templates. I believe they have on the order of 1,500, but many of them you do have to pay for. Now, Webflow templates tend to have more animations in them, a lot more going on, especially the ones that you do have to pay for. So you can see just the new ones right here. This one's like $130. We've got $79. A lot of them are $79 or $129. So it can be a little bit pricier, but with that, of course, you are getting a very robust web page just from the very beginning, not just one page, but your entire site. And again, it is kind of a trade-off. You will have to pay for this, but sometimes you can have some really cool animations on there. Moving on to the next category, this is going to be ease of use. So as I close out of some of these different pages here that we don't need anymore, you can see that Wix is really, it's always been known as one of the easiest ones to use, but that doesn't mean it's like rudimentary. Like, you do actually have a lot of flexibility here, and you can customize your website in some pretty advanced ways while still having it nice and robust, a drag and drop editor that scales really well. I guess what I'm saying is you can start off as an absolute beginner and make a nice looking website, or go on as an expert and make an incredible looking website using the same set of tools. So I've always really liked how they do that. And within the editor, it's really basic. As you go down, they highlight different sections just with your mouse, and you can just click on the plus and add what they call elements. They have so many different elements on the left side that are pre-structured, so you don't have to format buttons nearly as much. For example, when you just go and see, they have a lot of different ones. Like this would take a little while to design that, but I can just click and drag that over and put it anywhere I want on my page. If I want a button right there, I can put a button right there. As far as editing goes, you can see everything right below there, where it's going to link to, what the icon is, what the text is. It's all super easy to edit, and so very robust and very easy to edit. And I keep saying robust. You might wonder what I mean by that. What I mean is, as you go over to like mobile, for example, your website doesn't break. It still looks pretty decent and everything is very responsive. So that's Wix. Now moving on to Squarespace, if we just click on edit for this website right here that I have, you can see that Squarespace actually changed quite a bit over the past couple years. It used to be a lot more restrictive, like it used to be much harder to put things wherever you want, whereas now it does kind of have a grid drag and drop style editor. So if I want this button to be over here, you see this grid kind of appears and I can put it over there, and it works really well. Now, the reason they have that grid is to make it even more robust so that you don't have to worry about a responsive design here as things, stretch and scale on different monitors, on TVs, on phones, tablets, whatever. It should be able to handle that really well and keep things well arranged. So with that in mind, I really like how Squarespace has optimized their editor. When you want to add things, you can just go and click on add on that specific block. And then you can go down and see that we have, again, quite a few different things here, probably not quite as many pre-formatted elements as Wix has, but with that, you do get really, simple, clean things. Drag in a button, and it's going to match the previous button. Like, there is this style that you're going to have uniformly across your website, so less customization and a lot more uniformity and also ease of use when you're doing that. So then going over to Webflow, this one is definitely the most difficult to learn for beginners, but like I said, I have a tutorial to show you how to do that, and with this, you're getting an incredible amount of freedom. You can change a lot about all of these different elements on here, and so with that, you can have great animations on your website. You can have exactly like perfectly located graphics, and you can still make it very responsive with different breakpoints set up as you make the website. But as you can see on the dashboard right here, if it seems intimidating, that makes perfect sense because this is definitely meant for somebody who is looking to do a lot more with their website, a lot more customization. On the right side, we can customize everything on here from like location and color, and like it looks a lot more like an Adobe Photoshop style layout here. And personally, like once you get used to it, I really do like this. But for beginners, like I do caution you, trust me, it's a little bit tricky. Now, Webflow at the same time does give you tutorials when you start. They show you how to make different buttons and add things to different collections and make a new button that matches the old button. So editing your entire website, you do have some really powerful tools there. Like for example, if I have all of my buttons on this website set up with the same style class as like this one right here, I could just change the color of that and every button on my website will change. Great way to edit websites. Makes it really easy when you have larger websites. Going on to the fourth one, this is actually WordPress. As you can see, I have an example site right here that has a lot of updates I didn't do yet. But if we go to Pages, I'll just show you the quick editor. What we like to use is called Elementor. It's one of the easiest ways to make a WordPress website where you have drag and drop editing here. So if I go to, for example, the home page, I can edit this with Elementor. So here we are on the Elementor interface, and as you can see, it's kind of like a combination of Wix and Squarespace. We have a lot going on the left side. They're not pre-formatted like we saw on Wix, but we do have an incredible amount of elements we can add. Some of them are very advanced as well. Some of them are also limited to Elementor Pro, because so far setting up this right here is pretty much free, right? Like I'll talk about prices later on, but Elementor Pro is an option you could upgrade, but it's still a very affordable option. And otherwise, if you want to add, for example, like a heading, you just click and drag that. This one is not necessarily a free-form editor like we saw in Wix and Squarespace. This one is kind of based on like reference to other elements. So you can put it below that one, but you can't just like plop it over here. That it doesn't really allow that. Now the benefit with WordPress here is that you're not confined to using this theme, which has a set amount of templates, or this website builder, which has a set, constraints here. You can choose different ones like Divi, for example, or there's a lot of other ones out there. We also have a tutorial if you want to use Divi instead. I really do like Divi. It's kind of a toss-up between Elementor and Divi for me. But moving on to the next category, if you want to actually start making money with your website, of course, lead generation and affiliate marketing is great, but if you want to sell physical or digital products, which one of these is actually the best? Well, since we're on WordPress right now, I'll explain how this works. The way WordPress kind of operates is you have a basic infrastructure and you add plugins on top. So you can add a plugin like Elementor to make it easy to edit. You can add a plugin to make SEO easy. You can add another plugin called WooCommerce to make online sales very, very easy. This is great for managing inventory. It has a lot of different options for types of products you can sell, not just digital products and physical products, but drop shipped products or gift cards on there. You can have coupons, different sales with different styles where you can say you get discounts on certain items if you buy only like 2 of them. Like, it's very, very flexible, and you can really do a lot with that. So WooCommerce, I mean, it's hard to argue against it. It's really easy to use, and it's very, very robust. You just have to get through making the rest of your WordPress website, and once you have it set up, like, tons and tons of functionality there. And really the big benefit here is that it is highly scalable. So you can start off with a really tiny website, 1 page, 1 product, and scale up to many, many different pages, tons of blog articles, tons of products, a massive inventory, a big library of products, and it scales perfectly, which is why WordPress powers such a huge portion of the internet. Moving on to Webflow. In the past, to be honest, I haven't actually sold things on Webflow. I just always used it to make like more advanced websites like this, but for whatever reason, I never ended up selling things on them. But regardless, you can do it. You can integrate with like Shopify, for example, and sell things on here. It's probably not my first choice for an e-commerce website, especially a beginner. But moving on to the next 2 being Squarespace and Wix. Now, Squarespace has e-commerce plans available and built-in store functionality, so you don't have to get extra plugins. You don't have to look for different things. It's automatically baked in here. They have basic inventory management. They have shipping settings. You can choose different product options like physical products or, different types of digital products. As far as fees go, there are transaction fees for the lowest e-commerce plan, but depending on how much you're selling, you can upgrade to a higher e-commerce plan and you would get rid of those fees. And as far as payment gateways go, there are Stripe, PayPal, and Apple Pay. Those are the main ones that are supported here, which is why I think this is great for like influencers trying to sell some merch or something like that. And then of course we have Wix. Setting this up is super straightforward. There are e-commerce plans available with built-in store functionality, and you can have a lot of apps on here. One of the big benefits of using Wix is they have their entire app market. So if you just go to add apps, there are a lot of different integrations here, which can make this a very viable option for drop shipping or adding different shipping functionalities to, send SMS notifications, for example, to whoever buys things on your store. And as far as payment gateways, it supports a ton of them like PayPal and Stripe and several others as well. But as far as fees go, the benefit here is Wix doesn't actually charge transaction fees, but the payment gateways actually might. Of course, if you're using Stripe, for example, I think the credit card fee on there is a couple percent. Of course, like I said, Wix has inventory management, shipping, and tax settings. They've got different products options, and they have some abandoned cart recovery features as well to kind of improve your conversions. So generally, to review the scalability of Wix, it's great for obviously single product websites, but it can also scale up pretty far to have quite a large library, and Wix can really be used by the pros as well as the beginners. Now, although I didn't compare it in the rest of this video, when we're talking about e-commerce, obviously Shopify is an absolute giant in this space and has a ton of functionality. So if you only care about e-commerce, I recommend checking that one out. I didn't include them in this video because these are website builders that you can use to build any website, but also sell things on. Whereas Shopify, if you're not selling things on there, I don't really know why you'd want to even use that. Next up, we have SEO, which stands for Search Engine Optimization. Essentially, how easy is it for you to start ranking on Google with any of these? Since we are on Wix right now, I want to start off by talking about one of my favorite features out of all 4 of these is actually with Wix. They have something called SEO Wizard, which walks you through step-by-step different optimizations that it finds that you can do across your entire website to make sure that you are optimized to rank on Google. Now, these are things like different alt text or choosing the right titles and meta descriptions on different pages, and of course, just general website health and hygiene in general that I find works really well. So Wix gives you a lot of flexibility in how you design your site, but then makes it super easy to go to one spot, use the SEO wizard, and optimize your website. Then, of course, going to Webflow, SEO is pretty reasonable here. You're able to add meta descriptions and customize URLs and basic things like that, alt text as well. So it works pretty well. Not my first choice for making it easy to do SEO, but certainly possible to do on here. Then as far as Squarespace goes, there's some pretty basic SEO tools. It's a little bit more limited compared to the competitors on here, but if you look at any individual page or element, you can optimize it. You can add, meta descriptions and things like that for different pages. But really the king here has to be WordPress, where WordPress is giving you, like I said, if you use another plugin, this one's called Yoast SEO, It can do a lot of what we saw, kind of similar to Wix, where it gives you like a checklist and walks you through. And this can help you really optimize each of your blog posts. That's really where I've used Yoast SEO the most, to make sure that, of course, the meta stuff like description and tags and title, but also it'll kind of read through your blog and let you know if you use the keyword enough, not enough, too much, and basic things like that. Actually, not basic, pretty advanced things like that. Very cool. There's also like a free version as well as a paid version of that, which kind of leads me into the next topic, which is pricing and plans. Now, looking at the pricing, starting off with Wix, Wix is by far the cheapest option, but could be a more expensive one as well. So it scales up really well, like I said, with the same website. So you can actually start off for free. There are, of course, different branded, like there's limitations. You can't have your own domain and stuff like that, but for free, that's really, really impressive. And then from there, you can upgrade to $16 a month or even $11 a month, as you can see right here, and really get quite a bit of functionality out of that, where you're getting a custom domain. You get, not only that, it gives you a domain for a year, and you don't have any kind of branding on there, so it really is your website with a lot of other things. You can see this whole checklist here, like 2 gigabytes of storage space on your website. Very impressive that you have that. Now this scales up, as you can see, to $22.50 a month. It looks like there's actually a pretty really substantial sale right now. Usually it's $45 a month. And there are also business and e-commerce plans. So if you want to sell things on there, quite a few different options here. And there are enterprise plans as well, because like I said, you can scale this up, and pros can really use Wix as well. So then, of course, going over to Squarespace, the pricing here, you won't be surprised to see it's very similar. They're two strong competitors. Squarespace and Wix are really going at it. But I find that generally Squarespace tends to be slightly more expensive, usually about $1 more per month. But what I really like that they do here is they have this toggle to see what the monthly and annual prices are. Unfortunately, however, they do not have a free plan, so you're gonna have to upgrade no matter what, which I generally recommend for any of these, no matter what you're doing. And then WordPress. Now, WordPress is actually free to use. Elementor is free to use. WordPress is free to use. It's open source, actually, so there's a lot of integrations and a lot of plugins there. That's one of the reasons we like it. And the only thing you'll really have to pay for would be your hosting and your domain, unless you want to upgrade like Yoast SEO to like a premium version or Elementor Pro. Like, you can upgrade things, but the only thing you really need would be your hosting. And so we like to recommend Hostinger. Very affordable, super robust, really a solid option across the board. And so you can see just $199 a month is their cheapest plan. I usually go with the premium plan, which is only $299 a month. And then you'll probably pay maybe $10 or $15 per year, which is like $1 a month for a domain. So overall, the most affordable option, well, besides Wix, which is obviously free, but $3 a month when you factor in the domain and everything is really pretty incredible for hosting a website on one of the most powerful platforms out there. As far as Webflow goes, there is actually a free version which you can use to kind of get started, as you can see right here, and then you'll go up to $14 a month, which is surprisingly, it's very reasonable and affordable. Then you can go to $23 a month. This is billed yearly though. Of course, if you want to pay monthly, got to flip this toggle back, and it is a little bit more expensive if you're doing that. And of course, you can go to business or enterprise as well. Obviously, a lot of enterprises would be very happy to use Webflow because you do have that extra functionality, like I mentioned. I've seen people actually completely reconstruct like the Oreo website or the Apple, like the iPhone 14 launch, like different websites that are super impressive and have, dynamic animations on there are really able to be done pretty easily on Webflow. Next category is the help and support, and Wix does a fantastic job of this, not only having a help center that's searchable to answer a lot of the basic questions, but also there is phone and email support, and from my experience, they've done a really good job helping. Squarespace is pretty similar. They also have a help center, a live chat, and email support. WordPress is a little bit trickier. So WordPress, like I said, it's free to use WordPress, so you can't really expect them to help, but there is a really big community, a lot of forums, and there are some different official supports for WordPress, probably. And then of course, Webflow has their own help center, their own email support, and some forums as well. All right, so that's my comparison between the 4 most popular website building tools out there: Wix, Squarespace, Webflow, and WordPress. To summarize, Wix is great for anything from a single page website, a simple little one, all the way up to a more advanced, even professional website that an enterprise or a larger business would use. You could really use it at any size. It's easy to blog. It's great for selling things, really great for customizing with very little effort and choosing exactly what you want. So Wix, super solid recommendation for pretty much anybody out there. Then Squarespace really goes head to head with Wix. They have a lot of customization now with their new layout on how they can design the website with the drag and drop editor. And on top of that, you still have a lot of really good fundamental things on there. The ability to host podcasts, for example, everything baked in. There's not as many plugins, but you don't necessarily need the plugins because Squarespace offers most of that functionality already baked in. You can sell things on there. You can schedule for like a local doctor's office or a restaurant or whatever. You can sell things like takeout if people want to order from your restaurant. Very flexible, but it keeps it very simple in the interface. And then we have WordPress, kind of the opposite of the first two. Rather than being very refined and easy to use, it really has an ocean of options, and you can do a lot with this, but it does take a lot more research. It's incredibly powerful, and there's a reason it powers 1/3 of the internet, but it takes more learning. Then, of course, we have Webflow, which is kind of a unique one. It's very much in a class of its own in that you can add custom animations and really do a lot of more advanced design and even do some coding on there as well, while keeping it kind of a balance between hardcore, like full stack developer and the first two being Wix and Squarespace. But that's my take on all of these. But before you click off this video, I want to remind you that whichever of these four you chose, I have full tutorials on absolutely all of them. If you go down, the links in the description will have one link to get you a trial with any of them to get started, and a second link, which will actually be a full tutorial for free. Like, I'm not selling this, it's on YouTube. And usually they're like 1 or 2 hours to show you exactly how to use the ins and outs of each of those tools. If you enjoyed this video, consider liking and subscribing. I'm Mike O'Brien with Santrel Media. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in that tutorial.